It's like therapy 101. Charlie Bronson, the first time he ever spoke to me, I found myself repeating the same pattern, expecting a different outcome, the insanity, you know. And he goes, right. He goes, Tom. But yeah. He goes, do you remember the floods? When Oxford, he goes, yeah, the floods. Do you remember the floods? So yeah. He goes, do you remember that boy who got his foot stuck in a grate and the river kept rising? And he kept rising, and he kept rising, and eventually they tried to get him out, but he drowned. Yeah. He goes, well, that wouldn't have happened to me. Right. He goes, do you want to know why? I went, yeah, sure. He goes, because I'd have said, cut it off. Nah. Tom, what I'm trying to say is, right? What I'm trying to say is, son, is sometimes, yeah, you've got to cut a little piece of yourself off, yeah, no matter how much it hurts, in order to grow, yeah, in order to move on.
Attention is a resource that in the modern world is fought for everywhere you go. This video right now, you are paying attention along with time. But time and attention are not the same thing, because your attention wanes over a school day or a work day, over spreadsheets and papers. But the idea of playing that new video game keeps you going. All the reviews and the buzz online makes it sound like the best experience ever. And after a long day, you finally sit down to enjoy it, but you find yourself exhausted. And instead of jumping right in, you just stare. A Steam library filled with yesteryear's deals, or maybe a new game still shiny, fresh out of the wrapping. Hundreds of options, but the passion that brought you here suddenly evaporates. And instead, you just watch it on YouTube, scroll your phone. It's the gamer's paradox. While games are fun, they require an amount of attention and focus to play well and follow the story. And with modern games adding more and more preambles, updates, license agreements, walls of tutorial text, and a cacophony of settings, all just eating up more time before you can get to that sweet, sweet gaming experience. Unlike other mediums, video games are more similar to books than movies. They require the interaction of the user, the player in this case. The level of interactivity between the user and the medium was once described as Marshall McLuhan as being on a spectrum from hot to cold. Hot media are things that are more passive, like TV and movies, while cold media requires more user engagement, like painting something or playing a piece of music. Cold media requires your attention. But what happens when the effort that you put in doesn't give back what you expect? And it keeps happening over and over again until it becomes the norm. And there's a fear of wasting that very limited resource of attention that holds you back. You pass over authentic experiences in exchange for a placebo. You console yourself with mediocrity and half notions. Never fully satisfied, but never fully disappointed, just complacent. There is a solution to this. How to salvage your mind in the attention economy is to know when to cut it off. It's a common story. You start up a game, get invested in it, and after a few hours, you lose interest in it. Maybe the pacing dies, maybe it gets too challenging and you fight the same boss over and over again and you lose interest. You find something else, maybe start a brand new game, but you just walk away naturally. But the ghost of that unfinished experience haunts you, especially when a certain sequel to it comes out later that people can't stop praising or praise the original. It lingers in you because you did not cut it off. And you would come back to it months later, it makes you feel incompetent and lost. What were we doing? Where were we going? Why is this happening? What were the controls even? And again, you might just restart the whole thing, wasting even more time and more attention doing the things that you are probably going to remember anyway, only to again get to a certain point and feel again that it's just not for you and drop it again. It might have been objectively good, but didn't meet your subjective tastes. And the inherent interactive experience of the medium makes it difficult to separate from the objective taste and your own personal. In fact, a study at Harvard identified 3 specific gamer types based on interest groups, that being strategy, competition, and narrative. A game can be well made, popular, and ultimately just not for you. The only question is, do you know yourself well enough to trust your own judgment over the populace? But the question remains, when to cut it off, when it's too late or too soon? The answer for me came with a very simple and effective service, Game Pass. Game Pass changed my entire perspective on the consumption of video games. No longer are you constrained to a price tag, a value of the experience, but instead an investment of time, where every game is lined up on a screen in a grid pattern, where the giant AAA releases have the same amount of space as the indie releases. And it's a matter of taste rather than money. It's a question of time and preference rather than raving reviews and 10 out of 10s. No longer are you fighting to extract the dollar value experience out of a game that you simply just don't like. Now all you do is you have to just spend time and attention, which has led me personally to play some games I thought I would never enjoy. In fact, games that I took one look at from the cover and thought, this is gonna be a bad experience. And I have found some amazing treasures, some amazing gems and games just by having that opportunistic impulse. And I started to develop a new style of playing, a new way of playing games that wasn't actually all that new to me. It was actually an old feeling that we used to have quite a lot. It was very standardized in gaming. And it hasn't been seen for a long time, but with Game Pass, it's possible to do it again. And that's simply playing the game as a demo. Demoing. The amount of times I discovered some of the best games I've ever played, Ocarina of Time, Halo, Sonic Adventure 2, was either playing it at a friend's house or just playing it at a demo stand in a fast food restaurant or at a PC gaming store. Having that 5 to 15 minutes of just a taste of what the game is like sometimes is all you need. And the first hour of a game typically should contain the first game loop. That is the underlying pattern and structure of the game, usually culminating in the first boss or the summary of the challenges until it repeats again with a new area, new challenges, and a new boss. The core elements are just remixed and enhanced over the course of the game. And the likelihood that you don't like that first part probably means that you're not going to like the rest of it. I'll give you an analogy. There's a pool. You start walking into the pool. The water might be hot, it might be cold, but from that very first touch, your feet are going to tell you. If you like that bit, you start to go a little bit further. It goes up to your calves, your knees, your waist, your stomach, and finally, if you keep going even after that, your arms, and finally your neck. At this point, you're pretty much all the way submerged. And once you reach this part, you've met the point that I call the might as well point. You've gone almost all the way, so you might as well finish what you started. It's where you might as well swim to the other side of the pool, totally submerge yourself. If you didn't like the first few steps coming in here, then you wouldn't have gone this far already. And if you end up not enjoying it up to this point, hitting the might as well point, it means might as well finish it. But if it's not something you really like, it becomes a chore, like finishing the last 3 seasons of a TV show that just got steadily worse over time. And this happens in books as well, lots of other mediums. It's not unique to video games at all. The thing is, if you leave it too late, you will be chained to this medium like an occupation. It turns it into a slog and into a job of sorts, which is why you need to cut it off early. And if you never go in at all, you'll be chained to the ideas and fear of the unknown, that you never got to try it anyway, and you'll never know what it's really like. You'll have FOMO. The only option and way to be free of both of these scenarios is to be an adventurer who goes a little bit in, but not too far before they get swallowed up by the jungle. So don't hesitate. This is your call to action to get out there. So dip your toe, take your first bite, demo that game. Because the more you try, the more likely that you're gonna find something that you really, truly love. And that's what it's all about. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your attention.
The moral of the story is, I chose a half measure when I should have gone all the way.